When I woke up this morning and I took a moment, as I always do, to talk to Heavenly Father, I began to think immediately about the Second Passover, which is going to be tomorrow. It'll start tomorrow evening at sundown. Anyway, that was just flooding into my mind. And this verse in particular came to me. Go, my people, enter your rooms and shut your doors behind you. Hide yourselves a little while until the wrath has passed. For behold, Yahweh is coming out of his dwelling to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth will reveal her bloodshed and will no longer conceal her slain. Now, in the original Passover, which we see in Exodus chapter 11, and Moses said, Thus saith Yahweh, about midnight will I go into the midst of Egypt, and all the firstborn of the land of Egypt shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sitteth upon his throne, even unto the firstborn and the maidservant that is behind the mill, and all the firstborn beasts. Now this is really interesting, because in the latter days, the righteous cities, the 5 righteous cities that are talked about in Isaiah 19, are going to be established. The firstborn being Ephraim, or Revelation 12, the man-child, or the 144,000, whatever you want to call it, whatever you kind of want to call them. The firstborn is actually going to be born in Egypt, and it's a reversal of this, right? So instead of the firstborn in Egypt being what is killed, the firstborn is what is saved out of the chaos. Let's just look at what it says in Revelation chapter 3. Okay, so this is the church of Philadelphia, the firstborn, right? And it says, I know thy works. Behold, I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. For thou hast a little strength, and hast kept my word, and hast not denied my name. So he says, because you have kept the word of my patience, I also will keep you from the hour of temptation that shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So in the latter days, it says 5 cities will be established in the land of Egypt that speak the language of Canaan and swear to Yahweh Sabaoth. One shall be called the city of destruction. It depends on the translation. That can be the city of destruction, the city of the sun, the city of righteousness, depending on the translation. In that day, there shall be an altar to Yahweh in the middle of the land of Egypt. Okay, that is the New Jerusalem. And a pillar, at least that's what I believe, and a pillar at the border thereof to Yahweh. And it shall be for a sign and for a witness unto Yahweh Sabaoth in the land of Egypt, right? So that is, look at that. The establishment of this city is going to be for a sign and for a witness. Revelation 12, which is about the birth of the man-child, right? It says, now a great sign appeared in heaven. Verse 3, and another sign appeared in heaven, right? Zechariah chapter 3, verse 8, Hear, O Joshua the high priest, you and your companions who sit before you, for they are a wondrous sign. For behold, I'm bringing forth my servant, the branch. Jeremiah chapter 30, I just love this chapter. For thus saith Yahweh, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now, and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, or in labor, right? And all faces are turned into paleness, okay? So here is the woman in labor. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Remember that Jacob is in Isaiah 49, I'm sorry, Isaiah 48, what the Christians are called, because they're not yet Israel, right? Because Jacob had to struggle before the angel and to become sanctified before he was renamed Israel. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahweh Sabaoth, that I will break his yoke. Who's his? That's the Assyrian. Okay, that is the stout horn. That is those are the oppressors of his people who are in the land of Egypt, according to Isaiah 19. I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him, but they shall serve Yahweh their Elohim, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith Yahweh, neither be dismayed, O Israel. For lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. What's the land of their captivity? Egypt. And Jacob shall return, Jacob are the Christians, and shall be in rest and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. Israel is the firstborn. Okay, so that's why you have both groups there, because it says in Isaiah chapter 48, hang on, we'll just read it. Okay, so in 48, you have, hear this, O house of Jacob. These are the Christians who are called by the name of Israel. Okay, because they are, remember, it is the woman, it is the Christians out of which the man-child is going to be born. The man-child is the servant called Israel, who are called by the name of Israel. Okay, so many have been called, but who's going to be chosen to be this first group who take on the name Israel first, right? And the man-child, and have come forth from the well springs of Judah, that's baptism, who swear by the name of Yahweh and make mention of the God of Israel, that's Yahushua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ, but not in truth or in righteousness, right? Because they're still Jacob. They have not been cleansed yet, for they call themselves after the holy city, right? Zion, the New Jerusalem, and lean on the God of Israel. That's Jesus Christ. They lean on Jesus Christ. Yahweh Sabaoth is his name, right? So these are the Christians, but they are not currently cleansed. They are not yet Israel, right? But they are being called. They are being called. But the first ones that'll be chosen are those who have become this polished shaft, okay, that is hidden in his quiver. Okay, they are hidden right now. No one knows who they are because they've only been spiritually born at this point, right? And they have not yet been given the rod of iron to rule. Okay, and he said to me, you are my servant, O Israel, right? These are the chosen. This is the first group. They have wrestled before Yahweh. They have been cleansed. They are endowed with the Holy Spirit, and they are the ones that are going to be given the rod of iron. These are the firstborn, in whom I will be glorified, because we, through our works, are going to glorify our God. Then I said, I have labored in vain. Anyway, we'll move on, because, right, we're going through this time period when nothing's happened from 2017 till now, right? We just keep laboring and there's nothing. We're giving birth to wind right now, right? And now Yahweh says, who formed me from the womb to be his servant, to bring Jacob back to him. These are the Christians, so that Israel is gathered to him, right? And this is the Israel that is in the four quarters of the earth, that are scattered everywhere, okay? And not only that, but we're these people, okay, who I hope to be a part of. But of course, everything's according to the will of our Father, because He's the one that draws us to Jesus Christ, Yahushua Mashiach. Anyway, I will also give you as a light to the Gentiles, that you should be my salvation to the ends of the earth. Okay, so this is the job of this faithful group. Okay. So this is that servant Jacob that is in labor right now that we were just reading about here in Jeremiah 30. It says, "For I am with thee, saith Yahweh, to save thee. Though I make a full end of all the nations, whither I have scattered thee, yet will I not make a full end of thee, but I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished." It's exactly what happened in the Exodus. They went through the first, I think it's the first 4 or 5 plagues. I can't remember exactly how many. Everyone went through them that was in the land of Egypt. But then there became this point where in the land of Goshen, the rest of the plagues did not occur there. That's why I think that we are already in the tribulation. The time of Jacob's trouble is the first 3.5 years of the tribulation. We are going through some of those scourges, but the latter half, the last 3.5 years, would be the wrath that's poured out, and those who have entered into Zion, just like those who entered into Goshen, are not going to go through those remaining plagues. I'm in Jeremiah 31. Yahweh has appeared of old unto me, saying, Yea, I have loved you with an everlasting love. Therefore, with loving kindness have I drawn thee. Right? He is drawing all of those who will to Christ right now. The Father is. Again, I will build thee, and thou shalt be built, O Virgin of Israel. Thou shalt again be adorned with thy tabrets, and shalt go forth in the dances of them that make merry. Thou shalt yet plant vines upon the mountains of Samaria. Those are the mountains of the northern kingdom of Israel. The planter shall plant and shall eat them as common things. For there shall be a day that the watchman upon Mount Ephraim shall cry. Okay, Ephraim, the firstborn. Arise ye and let us go up. Where? To Zion, unto Yahweh our Elohim. And further down, just like I was saying, for I am a father to Israel, and Ephraim is my firstborn. So this is the man-child. This is the 144,000. How do we know it's the 144,000? Well, for one thing, where did it just say that it was taking them, right, to Mount Zion? It says, for there shall be a day that the watchman upon Mount Ephraim shall cry, Arise ye, and let us go up to Zion. That is a very important key phrase. If we go here to Jeremiah 3, what does it say? Turn, O backsliding children, okay? These are the ones that Heavenly Father is drawing to Christ. Saith Yahweh, for I am married unto you, and I will take you, one of a city and two of a family. And where is he going to bring them? And bring them to Zion. And who else is in Zion? Well, let's look at Revelation chapter 14. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on where? Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his Father's name written on their foreheads. And who has the Father's name written on their foreheads? The Church of Philadelphia, right? It says, let's see, behold, I come quickly, hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go out no more. And I will write upon him what? The name of my God. Okay. And what did we just read in 14? Having his Father's name written on their foreheads. Let's go ahead and finish this statement. Okay. Where was I? And I will write upon him the name of my God, and the name of the city of my God, which is New Jerusalem. New Jerusalem is the capital of Zion, which cometh down out of heaven from my God, right? Because the man-child is caught up to the throne of God. Okay, that is a spiritual, I believe, experience, just like it was so many times in the scriptures. You have the account of Isaiah being caught up to the throne of God and given his commission, right? But then what does he do? He comes back down to earth and fulfills that commission among men. Okay, there's one example. You have the same thing. You have Ezekiel going up to the throne of God and the great vision that he had. And what does he do after that? He comes down and he serves among men. Now, having been empowered by God, being given that commission, I believe that's what it's talking about in Revelation chapter 12. Let's see if I have that open. I do. Revelation chapter 12, where it says, she bore a male child who was to rule all nations. Where are the nations? The nations are on earth. So he obviously has to come back to earth with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up to God and his throne. Because there is where he's being empowered. And like I said, there are multiple examples of that in the scriptures. Therefore they shall come and sing in the height of Zion. That's where they're going. Okay, so first the firstborn, and then the firstborn is going to set up the standard. Okay, is going to raise the standard and say and cry, arise ye and let us go up to Zion. And who's he crying to? Jacob. That's what we just read in Isaiah 48. Or 49, excuse me. The servant Israel's job is to bring Jacob back, right? And therefore they shall come and sing in the height of Zion, and shall flow together to the goodness of Yahweh, for wheat and for wine and for oil and for the young of the flock and of the herd, and their soul shall be as a watered garden, and they shall not sorrow any more at all. Praise Yah. I am so looking forward to this moment, okay? So let's go back. There was one other thing that I wanted to share, but I'm not seeing it. So let's go back to where we started, the second Passover. Let's go refocus. Go, my people, into your rooms and shut your doors behind you. Hide yourselves a little while until the wrath has passed. For behold, Yahweh is coming out of his dwelling to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. Now, notice this, Yahweh is coming out of his dwelling. I want to take us now to Joel 2, okay? Let me start actually right here. Blow the trumpet where? In Zion, okay? This is where the firstborn is going to be, and then where the cry is going to go out for the rest of the believers in Jesus Christ and Yahushua Mashiach together, okay? Blow the trumpet in Zion, sanctify a fast, call a solemn assembly, gather the people, sanctify the congregation, assemble the elders, gather the children and those that suck the breasts. These are not necessarily young children, although that probably is one of the fulfillments. These are also those who are still children in their understanding of the gospel of Jesus Christ, right? And in their relationship with him. And those that suck the breasts, because, let me show this to you in Isaiah 66, starting in verse 9, shall I bring to the time of birth and not cause delivery, says Yahweh? Shall I, who cause delivery, shut up the womb, says your God? Rejoice with Jerusalem, and this is the New Jerusalem, and be glad with her, all you who love her. Rejoice for joy with her, all you who mourn for her, that you may feed and be satisfied with the consolation of her bosom, that you may drink deeply and be delighted with the abundance of her glory. Okay, so here you are. This is being likened as children that are suckling at the breasts, okay, that have come now to Zion and are now being fed. They're being strengthened, right? Okay, let's go back here to Joel 2. Blow the trumpet in Zion. Sanctify a fast, call a solemn assembly. Gather the people, sanctify the congregation, assemble the elders, gather the children, and those that suck the breast. Let the bridegroom go forth of his chamber, and the bride out of her closet. Let's tie that into Isaiah 26. What does it say? For behold, Yahweh is coming out of his dwelling, okay, to punish the inhabitants of the earth. So this punishment, I believe, is happening at the same time that the marriage is happening. Let the bridegroom go forth of his chamber and the bride out of her closet. Let the priests, the ministers of Yahweh, weep between the porch and the altar, and let them say, Spare thy people, O Yahweh, and give not thine heritage to reproach, that the heathen should rule over them. Wherefore should they say among the people, Where is their God? Then will Yahweh be jealous for his land and pity his people. Yea, Yahweh will answer and say unto his people, Behold, I will send you corn and wine and oil, and ye shall be satisfied therewith. Okay, there it is, suckling at the breasts, right? And I will nourishment, and I will no more make you a reproach among the heathen. I don't know if all of this is going to occur or begin rolling forth at the second Passover, but I do find it interesting in Isaiah 26 that this is definitely Passover language. Go, my people, into your rooms and shut your doors behind you. Hide yourselves a little while until the wrath has passed. That is definitely Passover language, okay? And right here, a little earlier in Isaiah 26, this language is just like what I just read you in Jeremiah. Oh, Yahweh, they sought you in their distress, okay, the time of Jacob's trouble. When you disciplined them, they poured out a quiet prayer, okay? That is called the solemn assembly, Joel 2, that we just read. As a woman with child about to give birth, there is that analogy that we hear over and over about this moment, about the woman giving birth, rise and cries out in pain. Those same words are used, right, in Revelation chapter 3. Revelation chapter 12. At the very beginning, right? Then being with child, she cried out in labor and in pain to give birth. Same language. As a woman with child about to give birth, rise and cries out in pain, so were we in your presence, O Yahweh. We were with child, we writhed in pain, but we gave birth to wind. We have given no salvation to the earth, nor brought any life into the world. Okay, but then God comes back and then gives this command in verse 20, Go, my people, into your rooms and shut your doors behind you. Okay, so I do believe that all of this is related. And I know that the cap to the Revelation 12 sign that was given, and then the eclipse that was given in the fall of 2017, the cap to that is the eclipse that will then be given in 2024 on April 8th. And so I believe that starting in this year, there's going to be the beginning of the rollout of these events that leads to the end of the time of Jacob's trouble and to the saving of the woman who goes into the place that has been prepared for her, the latter-day Goshen, the New Jerusalem, Zion, right? The 5 cities in the land of Egypt. Anyway, I hope this was helpful to you guys to ponder as we come into the second Passover, which starts tomorrow evening. I pray Yahweh's blessings upon all of you. And I can't wait to hear your comments.